Good evening, everyone. I hope everybody is here. Okay, so hardly a week there for your exam to go, all ICSE students. And let me tell you, every day at 7 o'clock, I am going to be there with you through this live session. All right, whatever queries that you have, or if you have any doubts regarding the topics that we are doing, or even if you have any other doubts regarding the exam, you can always ask me through this session using the chat box. All right. So today, let's begin. I am going to begin with the language first. When I say language, actually, language consists of 5 questions that you have in your exam. Okay. So ICSC language paper question 1 is about essay writing. First thing that I would like to tell you, children, it's not essay, basically it's a composition. Okay, if we see the difference between an essay and a composition, the main difference is that essays are very lengthy, and especially they are used at higher education. All right, they are used at college level, but in your school you are always asked to write a composition. All right, so the first question is about composition writing, in which you get 5 topics basically, and out of these five topics you have to attempt any one. Okay, now for this, ma'am, please do some practice on synthesis of sentences and transformation. Yes, sure, I am going to do that. First, I am just telling you in what way you have to attempt the paper, keeping in mind all sorts of questions that you have. I am going to do all important types of transformation as well as joining sentences, because I understand that they are very scoring. And even if they are given in MCQs, you need to be very sure of your answer, because sometimes MCQs confuse a student as well. Okay. Now, the second question is letter writing. All right, letter writing, which of course you get two options in that. One is formal letter, another one is informal letter, but again you have to attempt any one out of these two. Okay, this you must be knowing. 20 marks you have for essay, 10 marks you have for letter. Now, question 3 comprises two parts. First part is about notice. You need to write a notice, and second part is actually you about email writing. You need to write an email, and they both have 5 and 5 marks, and in that way they make 10 marks. But one thing that you need to remember while doing this topic is actually the question is same for notice as well as email. The question is same. What does it mean? That for one question only, for one situation only, you have to write two things. One, you have to draft a notice, and another thing is writing an email. All right. Now, question number 4 is your unseen passage. Okay, for two things. This unseen passage is given with the purpose of two things. One is comprehension, and another is pressy writing. Okay, another is pressy writing. Now, comprehension actually means understanding. All right, so you are given certain questions which test your understanding of the passage. Like after reading the passage, whether you were able to understand it in a proper way or not. As far as this pressy writing is concerned, it is like in 50 words you need to answer a question. I won't say that it is writing a summary for the passage, because it is not so. Children often get confused. They feel that, you have to read the whole passage and then you have to summarize the whole passage in 50 words, which is not there. No, and that is not even possible. Actually, it is a question which is there like any other question, but in this question, you have this limitation that you have to finish it in 50 words only. Okay. Now, question number 5 is about sentence structure. Now, in this question, you get several exercises. One is a passage, a running passage is given where you need to fill in the blanks with appropriate word. Now, here that appropriate, actually the word given in the back bracket. So, hints are given. They are given in the bracket. So, here you may have to use tenses most of the time. You may have to change the part of speech of the word. Sometimes you have to put to with it. So when you read the passage according to the requirement, the word that is given in the bracket, you need to fill a correct form of it. Now the second is again fill in the blanks. That is also about appropriate words, but here words means prepositions. It is none other than prepositions only. Okay. Third part is about synthesis, which we know as joining sentences also. Clear? And the fourth part is your transformation of sentences. Now, for last 2 years, these two questions are coming in the form of MCQs. Okay. As well as the vocabulary part of the unseen passage for comprehension is also coming as an MCQ. So, how to treat them, how to do them, I am going to discuss everything with you. So, right now, for now, I am going to take topic wise, but I am going to talk about essay later on at the last. You know, why am I doing so? Because children always remember these two questions, letter writing and notice and email. They are format based questions. Okay, you have very good marks for format in these questions, and they are the most scoring ones. Is easiest to do and they are the most scoring. So I want you that you must be very much familiar with the formats in whatever information that you are supposed to provide in these two questions. Okay, now as far as comprehension and Pressy writing is concerned, comprehension of course is about your reading abilities. So you will read the passage, then you have to do the questions. When Pressy, how Pressy is supposed to be attempted, I am going to discuss that too with you. We'll do a passage and then I'll tell you how to pick points and how to accommodate them in your Pressy. Last but not the least is sentence structure, which is again very scoring, because if you there are chances for you to score maximum marks in this question विद इन शॉर्ट पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. ठीक है, तो हम ऐसे की बात सबसे लास्ट में करेंगे. सबसे पहले मैं बिगिन करना चाहती हूँ लेटर राइटिंग से. ओके, so let's talk about letter writing. First of all, some of you may feel that letters are not in trend these days. We need not to write letters. Somehow, in our time, we used to write letters to our friends, to our relatives. But these days, they are not much in trend because of the social media. You have got WhatsApp to connect. Then, of course, everybody has phone these days. You can always make a call and speak. But let me tell you, beta, the objectives of writing letters can be many and varied. It is not every time that we are connecting with somebody through letter only. Sometimes we write the letters to inform, to inquire, to complain, to request, to thank, congratulate, console, all right, invite somebody, explain something, narrate a story or an incident or an episode that has happened with you. And sometimes you may need to reply also, like you have got an invitation for something, you are not able to attend that, so you are just sending the reply of that invitation or something like that. So some letters may be formal and some may be informal. And let me tell you, formal letters are still in trend. They are still in use. See, from your examination point of view, of course, it is important for you to learn letter writing. But I want to tell you that way also, later on when you face in your life also, you will have to write many letters. If you have to apply for a job, if you go to bank and you want some work to be done, you need to write an application for that, letter of request. Okay, that way also you must have seen, like in your school also, if you want to demand something, you need to write a letter to your principal, letter of request, or to somebody. So letter writing, you should know what a letter writing is. So actually letter writing is a situation. It can be an ordinary situation also. That can be a situation which involves a problem that creates a feeling or need or purpose to write. And in that situation, we write a letter. Okay, so as I told you, there are two types of letters, informal or personal letters. These are the letters which are written to parents, friends, and relatives. Okay, another are formal and official letters. Formal or official letters include applications, business firms, letter to any business firm. For example, you are writing a letter to place an order, government departments, public organizations, municipal authorities. Okay, so these are formal letters or official letters. Now, you see, if I tell you, if we see that way, letter is always marked. First of all, you should see how a letter is marked. You should understand that. And please, if you have any queries regarding whatever I am telling you, please put them in the chat box. I'll be answering your questions, okay? See, a letter, if we talk about the marking scheme of a letter, it is marked on the basis of three things. First is the format. Another thing is the content. And the most important, which carries 50% of the weightage, is expression. Format, content, and expression. Now you see, format, if it is a personal letter, then the format is for 2.5 marks. If it is a formal letter, then the content is for 3 marks. Okay. I'm sorry, format. I'm talking about format. If it is a personal letter, means informal letter, then the format is for 2.5 marks. If it is formal, then 3 marks. If it is a personal letter, then content again is of 2.5 marks. But in formal letter, the content is for 2 marks. And as far as expression is concerned, 5 marks for personal letter and 5 marks for format. ठीक है, तो अब आपको एक चीज तो बहुत क्लियर होनी चाहिए कि इन बोथ टाइप्स ऑफ लेटर्स, वेदर यू अटेम्प्ट पर्सनल लेटर और यू अटेम्प्ट फॉर्मल लेटर, marks for expression are the same. Okay, so for expression it doesn't make any difference, correct? Now what is expression? You need to understand that expression means your linguistic ability, or all right, your ability to use English language correctly, with proper tone, all right, and with good expressions. Can you please give tips for getting maximum marks in expression? Of course, I am definitely going to tell you. See, in how expression is checked. Of course, the examiner reads what all you write in the body of your letter, all right, the paragraphs that you make. But the number of mistakes that you make while writing that paragraph, they are counted, and on the basis of that you get marks in expression. So basically expression, of course, they want that you must use correct language. Correct language has to be used. Now you see, children often confuse it with flowery language. Flowery language, which I call as ornamental language also. बच्चों को ऐसा लगता है कि अगर हम बहुत हैवी वोकेबलरी यूज करेंगे या फिर हम बहुत फ्लारी लैंग्वेज यूज करेंगे, देन ओनली वी कैन गेट मार्क्स इन एक्सप्रेशन. नो, इट इज नॉट सो. लेट मी टेल यू, इफ यू हैव क्लैरिटी इन वॉट यू वॉन्ट टू कन्वे, आपकी बात बिल्कुल क्लियर एग्जामिनर को समझ में आ रही है और आपने उसमें कोई मिस्टेक्स नहीं की हैं. Okay, now if we talk about the mistakes, means what sort of mistakes are there that are seen? First of all, of course, your spelling mistakes, correct? Then is your first and foremost is your spelling mistake. Then comes your grammatical mistakes. Now grammatical mistakes can be like mistakes of tenses. You are committing any error on what do you call it, preposition or something, conjunction. इस तरह के जो mistakes होते हैं grammar से related, सबसे important इसमें tenses का ही mistake माना जाता है. And yes, another is like punctuation. If you are committing mistakes of punctuation, तो बेटा इन सारे मिस्टेक्स को अवॉइड करने के लिए, सो दैट यू आर एबल टू स्कोर मैक्सिमम मार्क्स इन एक्सप्रेशन, लेट मी टेल यू, आई वॉन्ट यू टू मेक सिंपल एंड शॉर्ट sentences. You just make sure. See, there may be students who are very good at language. Their command is really awesome. That is excellently well. बहुत अच्छे से वो अपनी बात को लिख पाते हैं. For them, it is good. They are going to get marks in expression. But if you feel that somehow you are not able to write clearly, आपकी vocabulary बहुत enriched नहीं है अभी एग्जाम टाइम पे, तो मैं आपको यही एडवाइज करूंगी that it's better you please write simple sentences. You just write the language which is error proof. If your language is error proof, if there are no errors in that, if there are no mistakes in that, you are definitely going to get marks in expression. ठीक है, एक्सप्रेशन के मार्क्स इस बात को देखकर नहीं दिए जाते हैं कि बहुत हाई फाई, बहुत अच्छा इंग्लिश आपने यूज किया. वो इस बात को देख के दिए जाते हैं कि आप जो लिख रहे हैं वो क्लियर होना चाहिए. Whatever you want to convey must be clear to the examiner, and there must not be any mistakes in that. So, and to avoid mistakes, I would advise you to go for simple sentences. बहुत complicated, complex, compound, कई बार क्या करते हैं, most common mistake that I have seen, children keep adding sentences by using and. No, that gives too much of unclarity to your expression. ओके, राइट शॉर्ट एंड सिंपल सेंटेंसेस. आप सीधी सीधी तरीके से बात को लिखिए. क्लियर? ऑलराइट. नाउ नेक्स्ट इज कंटेंट. एक्सप्रेशन हमने देख लिया कि चाहे पर्सनल लेटर है या फॉर्मल लेटर है, दोनों में ही 5 मार्क्स का ही है एक्सप्रेशन. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट इज कंटेंट. वी सी अ डिफरेंस. Can you show an example of a good letter? Of course, I'll do that if you want that. Okay. So content, if we talk about content, प्लीज सी, पर्सनल लेटर में जो कंटेंट है वो 2.5 मार्क्स का है, और फॉर्मल लेटर में कंटेंट 2 मार्क्स का है, तो हाफ मार्क कम है फॉर्मल लेटर में. Why is that? Because in the formal letter, we want the student to be very direct. Okay, the tone has to be formal, and at the same time it has to be directly related to the topic. That way personal letter is also supposed to be directly related to the topic, but somehow in personal letter you can talk about here and there, लेकिन आप formal letter में कोई इधर उधर की बात नहीं करते हैं. तो यहाँ पर content में सिर्फ वही points उठाए जाते हैं जो relevant हैं आपके question को लेके. Okay. Now next is format. Format in the personal letter, the format is for 2.5 marks. In the formal letter, the format is for 3 marks. All right. So how is it that we will see now? So this marking scheme I have already discussed with you. Yes, expression can further be elaborated on 3 things. ओके, वन इज योर ओपनिंग सेंटेंस, हाउ यू बिगिन योर लेटर. एक बहुत कॉमन मिस्टेक मैं आपको बता देती हूँ. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, पीपल मीन्स स्टूडेंट्स राइट पर्सनल लेटर बिगिनिंग इट विद हाउ आर यू, हाउ आर यू, आई होप यू आर फाइन, or I hope you are in the pink of your health, something like that. That is very, first of all, you can't begin a letter with a question, because you are not having this direct communication. आप फोन पे बात नहीं कर रहे हैं जो आप पूछेंगे how are you, this that. So please never ever begin your letter with a question. That is absolutely wrong. Opening sentence, if it is a personal letter, of course you can give it a touch of your personal intimacy with that person. लेकिन हमेशा आप ध्यान रखिए बेटा, एग्जामिनेशन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से it is always better to open your letter in the context of what has been given in the question. Okay, for example, if you have been asked to write a letter to your friend telling him about an inter-school activity that has recently taken place in your school. Okay, maybe you are living in boarding, or your friend is in some other city, and you are writing a letter telling that person about inter-school activity, okay, which has recently taken place in your school. So what I would suggest, you just write dear friend, or you can even write the name of the friend, dear friend, or dear whatever the name is. I received your letter last week and was happy to know that you have been able to adjust yourself in your boarding school. All right, so contextual. Then you also asked me about the extracurricular activities that take place in my school. You will be happy to know that recently we had an inter-school activity in our school, and I am writing this letter to tell you about the same. That's it. Okay, so what I have done, as Naman is saying, I hope this letter finds you in good spirit and health. Can we start like this? Beta, this is a very stereotypical, the kind of beginning that is taught in junior classes. Okay, so because here we see no originality. The examiners, even the council wants that the child should have such a command on the language that they can invent their own new words, own new sentences. These are the sentences which have been used for so long. All right, so you should avoid using such sentences. जैसा मैंने बताया, टॉपिक से रिलेटेड आप उसको थोड़ा कनेक्ट करने की कोशिश कीजिए. एंड इफ इट इज अ फॉर्मल लेटर, all right, if it is any official letter, formal letter, then you can always begin like I am coming to that only. Like if it is a formal letter, so first of all it depends what kind of letter it is. Formal letter किस तरह के हो सकते हैं? That can be a letter of request when you are asking for a favor. That can be a letter of complaint also. आपको किसी बात से परेशानी है, आप it can be a letter to editor also, okay, for the newspaper. So in that for formal letter, what you can do is like you can, if you are writing to the letter, if you are writing to the editor, for example, you can always say through the column of your esteemed newspaper, I want to express my views on such and such thing. Okay, if you are writing it to the official, and basically it is about a complaint, so you can clearly mention that I am writing this letter to bring it to your notice that whatever the situation is. All right, or through this letter I want to draw your kind attention towards this thing, whatever the situation is. I hope you get it. Okay, so this is how you should begin the letter. Please don't use those gisapita kind of sentences which are taught in junior classes, because then the examiner sees no originality. All right. Now, similarly, closing sentence. Closing sentence is also very important because you have 1 mark for it. Closing sentence means how you conclude your letter. एक तो conclude हो गया आपका concluding paragraph, लेकिन उसके बाद एक closing sentence expect किया जाता है, जैसे कि especially in the personal letter it is mandatory for you to write. For example, you are writing to your friend and you are giving as closing sentence that convey my regards to aunt and love to his sibling, some young sibling you can talk for, or you can always give the closing sentence like if it is a formal letter, looking forward for a positive reply, the way you are supposed to give in the email. All right, so that way you should always conclude your letter specifying, like, if the touch, the tone that you are using. Clear? I hope you must be able to understand the marking scheme and how you have to go with the expression. तो चलिए expression पे हमने बहुत बात कर ली है. Now let's talk about the format. And for the format, I want you not to get confused. बेटा कुछ या anticipating a positive response. Absolutely correct, Ashish Kumar. Alright, now you see, when we write the format, I want to tell you something. Your teachers must be telling you, there are 2 kinds of formats. Okay, one is with commas and one is without commas. ठीक है, और एक फॉर्मेट है जो हम बहुत कॉमनली यूज करते हैं ICSE में. सी, we use commas, we use it with punctuations, okay, but there can be a format like traditional one where your teachers must have asked you to write the sender's address and date on the right side, then on the left you are writing salutation, then the body comes, then on left you are giving subscription, or on right you are giving subscription. Please follow what your teachers are asking you to follow. Don't get confused. Please follow what your teachers are asking you to follow. Beta, council has not given in particular that it has to be left side margin or right side margin. Is it clear? Can we write closing sentences in informal, like I hope you write me next letter or will visit my... Of course. In the personal letter you can always use such sentences. Okay, so about the format of letters, please don't get confused. What I am telling you here is the sequence. आपको इस sequence का ध्यान रखना है कि इसी sequence में आपको चीजें देनी है. सबसे पहले आप बात करेंगे sender's address की. Alright, and this sender's address should be written only in 2-3 lines, not more than that. You are not supposed to, like, it's not, for example, if I have written an address here, A4 Kumar Lane, Ajapur Kala, Dehradun, ऐसा नहीं है कि आप इसको पूरा एक ही लाइन में लिख देंगे. No, you have to break it. Okay, the way house number, comma, lane, name of lane, comma, then next line, name of colony, city, whatever. Next line, name of the city, Dehradun. ठीक है. अब इसको लेकर बहुत सारी बातें हैं कि शुड वी पुट द पिन कोड देयर और नॉट. Are commas and full stop important in formal and informal letters? See, commas are important, of course. Commas are important because ICSE doesn't go for box type format. Okay? I'll tell you beta why am I not writing subject here. So ICSE doesn't go for box type format. एक box type format होता है जिसमें हम बिल्कुल commas का use नहीं करते हैं, लेकिन वो ICSE में नहीं होता है. You need to use commas. Okay, you must be able to know the punctuation. Commas ऐसा नहीं है आपका जहां मन करेगा आप comma लगा देंगे. देखिए, senders address में house number के बाद comma mandatory है, वहां पर आपको लगाना ही लगाना है. ठीक है. और अगर हम पंक्चुएशन की बात करें तो जैसे लेन के बाद, बिकॉज दिस एड्रेस समहाउ वी आर ब्रेकिंग इट, इट इज येट कंटिन्यूड, सो दैट इज वाई Ma'am, but in my school teach to keep the letter in a box. Keep the letter in a box means you need to draw a box. No, not at all. No, no, no. Box is not supposed to be drawn. Okay? All right. Then, uh, after that, you have to leave a line and then you have to write a date. Now, please understand, let me tell you very clearly the formats of writing date. Date has to be written, for example, it is 14th February 2024. अब दो चीजें आप ध्यान रखिए. February has to be written full. There are children who may write it as Feb, which is absolutely wrong. You'll lose marks for it. If you write 14 to 2024, this is wrong. You'll lose marks for it. Yes, Ashish Kumar, you have given a correct way of writing date. And even if you don't put comma there, that is also acceptable these days. Why? Because comma is not in trend these days for date. But if you are putting, that is also fine. You please go ahead. और जो एक और correct तरीका होता है बेटा डेट लिखने का, वो ये होता है, like for example, if we write February 14, then comma 2024. But please understand, if we are writing this format, then it has to be, here date has to be 14. Then we can't make it 14th. All right. So please follow the correct format of date. That is very important. Again, now somebody was asking me कि मैम आपने subject क्यों नहीं दिया है formal letter में. See, that way of course subject is there in the formal letter. We should always write subject in the formal letter. But here I always tell my students not to write that, especially those students who may commit some mistakes in it. Because okay, Ricky Kapoor, thanks, and I am happy to know that both your exams were good. चलिए बिल्कुल अच्छे आएंगे, डोंट वरी, यू विल गेट मोर देन व्हाट यू आर एक्सपेक्टिंग. Okay, so yes, children, I was telling you about the subject. See, I do not suggest my students to write the subject because there are no specific marks for the subject in the format. Okay, so when marks are not there, so if you write it, you do not lose any marks. If you write it, you do not get any marks. If you don't write it, you do not lose any marks. But if you write the subject and you don't write it properly, you are not able to make proper phrase, you are committing some error there, then those errors, those mistakes will be counted in your expression and you may lose marks in expression. That's why I do not suggest to write a subject, just to be on safer side. I hope I am clear on this. So after receiver's address, you need to write salutation. Ma'am, I often lose my marks in closing of the last. How can I closing of the letter? बेटा, I am coming to that. आज की क्लास में हम लेटर, नोटिस, ईमेल, ये तीन चीज़ ही डिस्कस करने वाले हैं. मैं आपको बताऊंगी कि किस तरह से आप क्लोज करें, कंक्लूडिंग या इंट्रोडक्टरी किस तरह से दें. चलिए, तो अभी जो हम थोड़ा पहले रिसीवर्स एड्रेस के बारे में भी डिस्कस कर लेते हैं. देखो बेटा, हमेशा लेटर, जो फॉर्मल लेटर होता है ना, वो किसी पोस्ट डेजिग्नेशन को लिखा जाता है, पर्सनल किसी पर्सन को नहीं लिखा जाता. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ यू आर राइटिंग इट टू द मैनेजर ऑफ अ बैंक, ठीक है, आप यहाँ पर मैंने एग्जाम्पल लिया है, नेशनल बुक स्टोर का लिया है, ठीक है. अब नेशनल बुक स्टोर का मैनेजर, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल तो इट मे नॉट बी नेसेसरी फॉर यू टू नो द नेम ऑफ द पर्सन. जरूरी नहीं है आपको उस पर्सन का नाम पता हो, ठीक है. दूसरी बात, इफ यू राइट इट टू द मैनेजर, इट मीन्स whosoever the manager is, you want to convey what you have to. It can be complaint, request, whatever it is there, you are conveying it to the manager because you do not have any personal association with that person, so you are not supposed to write his name for that. Formal letters are always written to a designation. वो किसी designation, किसी post को लिखे जाते हैं, ठीक है. अब आप सीधी सी बात सोचिए ना, जैसे मान लीजिए आप बैंक में मैनेजर को लेटर लिख रहे हो, ठीक है. They keep having transfers, they are posted on different places. अब आप अपनी ब्रांच के मैनेजर को लिख रहे हो, अगर आपने उसमें पर्सनल लेवल पे नाम लिख दिया तो इट मीन्स दैट इज फॉर दैट पर्सन ओनली. But if you are writing it to the manager, ma'am, do we need to put our signature in formal letter? See, that is optional. You do not have, Nidhi, there are no marks for it. Okay, if you put them, that's good. If you don't put them, that is also fine. What the council expect, that in the subscription your full name has to be there, पूरा नाम आना चाहिए. उसके ऊपर आप चाहें तो आप सिग्नेचर कर सकती हैं, नहीं करेंगी तो भी कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. ठीक है. सी, मैं यहां पर ये जो फॉर्मेट में बता रही हूं वो चीजें बता रही हूं जिनके मार्क्स हैं काउंसिल में. उसके अलावा इफ यू एड समथिंग, you know, to give the quality to your composition, that is fine. Okay. Yeah, so I was talking about receiver's address. Receiver should always be a designation, then you need to write the address. ठीक है. आफ्टर दैट कम्स सैल्यूटेशन. हाँ, यहाँ पर मैं एक चीज आपको पॉइंट आउट करना चाहूंगी. सैल्यूटेशन इज ऑलवेज डियर सर और डियर मैडम. Or if you know the name of the person, you are writing it to someone in particular, then, but you are never asked that. Dear sir or dear madam. It can never be respected sir or respected madam. Why? Because by calling them sir or madam, we are giving respect. ठीक है. एक बहुत कॉमन मिस्टेक है बच्चे करते हैं, रिस्पेक्टेड सर, रिस्पेक्टेड मैडम. प्लीज डोंट डू दैट. इट्स ऑलवेज डियर सर और डियर मैडम. ओके. अब हम बात करते हैं सब्सक्रिप्शन की. सी, देर आर 2 सब्सक्रिप्शंस विच आई वांट यू टू फॉलो. प्लीज आप ध्यान से देखिए. योर्स ट्रूली, योर्स, वाई कैपिटल विदाउट अपोस्ट्रोफी. ट्रूली. मैम कैन वी have to write subject after dear sir? Manasvi, I have just discussed a lot about the subject. I do not suggest my students to write subject. Why? Because if you write it, you do not get any extra marks. If you don't write it, you do not lose any marks, because there are no marks for subject in the format. But if you write the subject and you make any mistake, then you may lose marks in expression. That is why we do not I do not no, Diljit, today I am not going to practice synthesis of sentences. That I will do tomorrow. Functional grammar I am going to take tomorrow. Today I will take letter, notice and email only. Those who have their queries related to that, those who want to revise that, they may stay here. ठीक है? Because I really don't want you to waste your time. Alright? चलिए, अब सब्सक्रिप्शन की बात करते हैं. प्लीज यूज ट्रूली और फेथफुली in the formal letter, especially if you are writing the letter to your principal. Yes, Nidhi, definitely I am going to do that. Okay. So if you are writing the letter to the principal, you please use faithfully. Faithfully is written for a person whom you know and whom you have some obligations for. Truly हम generally सबके लिए use करते हैं. Please don't make use of sincerely. ठीक है. Use these 2 subscriptions only. Yours truly, yours faithfully, and then you need to write your full name. Please, full name has to be written, children. If you write only first name, you lose marks. First name is supposed to be written in informal letter or personal letter. In the formal letter, see, now I have the format of personal letter here. I hope you are able to see it properly. So sender's address exactly the same way, date exactly the same way, salutation dear dash. Now in place of dash you can write friend, name of the friend, dear father, dear mother, no mummy, no papa, no chachi, or bhai, something like that. If you use any Hindi word anywhere in your compositions, whether it is an essay or letter or notice or email, please understand you lose marks. Okay, vernacular you are not supposed to use. Okay, you can't write any word in regional language. It has to be English only. It has to be English only. If, for example, you get some question in your composition writing, you are supposed to write about a movie that you have recently watched, ठीक है? And you are talking about some Bollywood movie. So Bollywood movie का नाम अगर हिंदी में है, if there is any title of the book or any movie that you are giving, that title can be. But other than that, you are not supposed to use Hindi or any other language while writing. Okay, let me take the questions. Naman is asking, ma'am, how many questions in prepositions are from phrasal verbs and how many from place? Please tell. There is no specific formula for that, Naman. You can be asked from anywhere. Thanking you is required. Let me tell you. If you are asking for a favor, okay, then in the formal letter, not in personal letter, in the formal letter, thanking you is used in formal letter if you are asking for a favor. ठीक है, only then. In a letter of complaint, we generally don't use. In the letter to editor, we do not use. Naman, don't worry, in class 10 you are not going to get difficult phrasal verbs. They are going to be very easy. Okay, ma'am, but in English literature, can we use vernacular language in apostrophe? Beta, if it is used in the text, then only you are supposed to use it. You will not be using it on your own. Whatever you have to express when you are writing something in your language, that has to be only English. I hope you get my point. If, for example, vernacular is used in the text, for example, in the blue bead, you have certain words. ठीक है, तो अगर आप वो वर्ड्स उठा रहे हैं, the words that have been used in the text, then only you can do that. Otherwise, no, you are not supposed to use anything else than English. Am I clear on this? Okay, I think the format must also be clear. Come on, Naman, you will not feel any fear. You need not to be fearful about prepositions. And prepositions is in totality it's 4 marks. Even if you are not able to do 1 or 2, it is going to cost you half or 1 mark only. You must right now focus on what I am teaching you, right? चलिए, the tone used in a letter. और वैसे भी नमन, डर के आगे जीत है. हाँ, तो डर लग रहा है तो कोई बात नहीं, उसके बाद जीत आने वाली है. डोंट वरी. ऑलराइट, द टोन यूज्ड इन अ लेटर. This is something very important, and this is something which students always, no, I will not say always, but often they do not pay attention. The tone used in a letter. The kind of sentences that you see, I have given an example. देखो, for example, you are requesting for reply in your letter. ठीक है, तो आप उसको informal way में कैसे कहेंगे? Like, I'll be glad to hear from you. It'll be nice to hear from you as you may find time to drop a letter. Alright, like concluding sentence. The same thing in a semi-formal way can be said like, I shall look forward to hearing from you as soon as you have time to write. Alright, and if you have to make it formal, then it will be like, it would be much appreciated if you could inform me as soon as it may be convenient. Okay, so can you see the difference in these 3 ways of saying the same thing? Okay, so this is what is called tone. The tone that you adopt. Informal way means when you are writing a personal letter, your tone should be like that, which I have mentioned. I'll be glad to hear from you. It'll be nice to hear from you as soon as you may find time to drop a letter. But when you are writing a formal letter, ठीक है, तो बेटा आपका tone लगना चाहिए formal. It would be much appreciated if you could inform me as soon as it may be convenient, or I shall look forward to hearing from you as soon as you have time to write, or it can be, I hope you will look into the matter as soon as possible. Okay, so this way you have to be very careful about the tone that you use in a letter, because the body will be decided for that only. अब देखिए, here I am giving you certain examples, some suggestions to begin your letter. So first of all, of course, please understand, as I told you, that it should be either in a response to an earlier communication or have a reference to the topic of the letter. दोनों में से एक बात होनी चाहिए आपका लेटर जिस तरह से begin होता है. But yes, the opening sentence that we were talking about, if you are writing a formal letter, you can jot these down also, or you may take a screenshot. So you can always begin like, I have written this letter to, means directly you are opening your letter and telling the purpose. Okay, or it can be, through my letter I want to draw your kind attention towards, with reference to the advertisement published in this on this date, I would like to apply, or whatever. depending upon the situation that has been given in the question. All right. Similarly, some suggestions to begin an informal letter. Again, received your letter expressing concern for this. I am writing this letter to tell you about an incident or something like that. So please understand, it has to be direct beginning only. Please don't talk about here and there. आप सीधा जो situation आपको question में दिया गया है, you just start writing about that only. Okay, now let's talk about general aberrations. Now, general aberrations means the mistakes that children usually make. वो गलतियां जो बच्चे अक्सर करते हैं, ओके, और जो हमें बिल्कुल नहीं करनी है. ऑलराइट, सो प्लीज एक्सक्यूज मी, देयर इज एन इम्पॉर्टेंट दिस थिंग. या, सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल लेट्स सी. First is beginning the letter with a question like how are you? All right, beginning the letter with a question like how are you? Okay, so this I told you very clearly, you are not supposed to begin your letter with how are you. Next is wrong format. If you use wrong format, children, then of course it you are going to lose marks on it. So please make sure that your formats must be correct. Another very common mistake is no paragraphs in the body of the letter. You need to have minimum 3 paragraphs in the body of the letter. Please understand. So if you don't change paragraphs, means you are writing the body of the letter in one paragraph only, you lose marks for it. Okay? Using the wrong salutation. Wrong salutation means no nicknames are supposed to be used in personal letter. Even if you are writing a personal letter, you are writing it to your father. So you just have to write dear father. You are not supposed to write dear papa or daddy, something like that. Okay, please do not use nicknames also in writing salutation. Of course, using apostrophes in subscription, this is also very commonly seen, like yours faithfully. What do children do? That your apostrophe s, yours faithfully, which is absolutely wrong. And of course, writing names in subscription, कई बार बच्चे personal letter में full name लिख देते हैं, they'll lose marks for that. Sometimes children write their first name in the personal letter. That is also absolutely wrong. Okay, so these are general mistakes which children do, and I have jotted them down here so that you do not make these mistakes. Okay, I hope I am clear on this. So somebody was asking me about a model letter. Of course, I have taken it from Total English only. You people, most of you must be following this book. Even if you are not following, that's okay. See, this is how you are supposed to write a letter, and this is how it is going to be checked. ये जो आप ये इस तरह से देख रहे हो ना, don't get confused. ये जो टिक के साथ ये क्रॉस किया गया है, it means half mark. इसका मतलब half mark होता है. ठीक है, देखिए इस लेटर में योर ग्रैंड मदर हु लिव्स इन बेंगलुरु हैज रिटन टू यू इंक्वायरिंग अबाउट योर वेलफेयर अगेंस्ट द बैकग्राउंड ऑफ द हैवोक कॉज्ड बाय एन इंसेसेंट रेन्स इन योर एरिया. राइट अ रिप्लाई टू हर लेटर. ठीक है, तो अब देखिए सिचुएशन आपको बहुत क्लियरली दी गई है. यू आर सपोज टू राइट अ रिप्लाई टू हर लेटर. ओके, नाउ सी. On the left side, of course, first of all, the address is written. Address should contain house number, then colony, then city, and pin code is also given over there. It's better you write it down. Okay. Then leave a line and you have to write the date, 2nd October 2024, whatever the year is. Then again, leave a line and give the salutation, dear grandma. Okay. Or dear grandmother. Whatever you write, don't write dadi or you know, some children call dadi, some children badi mummy, whatever. Please don't write such things. You just have to write clearly, dear grandma. Now a situation has already been given in the question, and what is the situation? That she had written you a letter and you are supposed to write a reply to that letter. Correct? So for that situation, you need to you need to begin with that only, like, received your letter expressing concern for our welfare. It was harrowing experience indeed. Then this is just the opening sentence. The opening sentence is clearly telling us that we are talking, the situation has already been given. The opening sentence clearly tells us the purpose of writing letter. ठीक है, वो पर्पस ऑफ राइटिंग लेटर हमारा क्लियर हो गया है. सोराजीत शाह मैम, टुडे विल यू डू ग्रामर? नो बेटा, आज मैं ग्रामर नहीं करूँगी. ग्रामर आई विल टेक टुमारो. Okay, tomorrow I am going to take grammar. Today I am going to revise letter, notice and email. 3 compositions. ठीक है, tomorrow I will do grammar after giving you brief about the essay writing. और उसके बाद हम literature revise करेंगे till 20th. ठीक है? Okay. So, yes. So now you can see in the body of the letter, you may see after this opening sentence, there are 3 paragraphs. Okay, this is what you are supposed to give. And then at the end you have kindly give my love to grandpa, yours affectionately, comma, and then Somakshi. Only first name is given. I hope it is clear, right? So this is how you are supposed to write letters. Yes children, do you have any queries for letter writing? I'll take your queries for 2 minutes. Otherwise, I am going to come to the next topic. Yes, if you have any queries, you can ask me. Nidhi, is everything clear to you? Yes, Nidhi? And others, those who are here? चलिए, अब हम जल्दी से फटाफट से रिवाइज करते हैं नोटिस एंड ईमेल. ओके, लेट्स रिवाइज नोटिस एंड ईमेल नाउ. This is again, yes, this is again question number 3 having 2 parts. All right. Okay, so question number 3 having 2 parts. The first part deals with notice writing, which is very important for you to learn, because you should understand what a notice is. First of all, notice is a means of formal communication. तो आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि when it is a formal communication, then the tone has to be formal. नोटिस में वैसे भी आप देखेंगे बेटा, कोई इधर उधर की बात नहीं होती है. जो आपको क्वेश्चन दिया है उससे रिलेटेड आप सिर्फ पॉइंट्स में यू जस्ट एक्सप्रेस योर कंसर्न. Okay, concern that has been given in the question. So it is a means of formal communication, and especially notice is drafted when we want to communicate something to a group of people basically. ठीक है, आपके जो सिलेबस में दैट इज टू अ ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल. द मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ नोटिस इज टू प्रोवाइड इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट एन इम्पॉर्टेंट इवेंट. It is generally written and then displayed at a public place where it is accessible to all. They can be pasted on notice boards also. If it is meant for wider audience, it can even be published in a newspaper. All right, now this is the format. Yes children, this is the format that you have to use for notice. Now again let me clarify myself. If your teacher is using some other format like with prepositions, ठीक है, एक फॉर्मेट है prepositions के साथ जहाँ पर आप डेट पर आप on 11th August, from 9 AM to 12 noon, at the theater, comma, the Oasis. You can use that also. I do not prefer it for the students. That way, whatever is convenient, what you have been using for a long time, you must have appeared for many exams. तो जो format आप जिसमें comfortable हो चुके हैं, it's better you please go with that only. Date time venue को लेकर confuse मत होना. You can write it this way also, you can write it that way also using prepositions. Both are fine. But the idea is that both must be correct. ये है कि करेक्ट होना चाहिए. ठीक है, सबसे पहले हम क्रिएटिव टाइटल की बात करते हैं. क्रिएटिव टाइटल हैज़ टू बी वेरी क्रिएटिव एंड इनोवेटिव. इट इज़ फॉर 1 mark. And please make it a point and try to see if it can be somewhere related to the topic. बेटा, I'll give you some creative titles also. मैं आपको ना अभी बताऊंगी कि किस सिचुएशन के लिए आप किस तरह के क्रिएटिव टाइटल्स यूज कर सकते हैं. ठीक है, I have often seen children getting problem in this. Then next is subject. Subject is most of the time it is given in the question only. Okay, now but I always tell my the students, if something is given in the question and you are just copying it down and then expecting 1 mark for it. No, something should be added to the subject. Something should be added to what is given in the question. जो question में दिया है उसमें आप कुछ add करिए. जैसे for example, you have an inter-school debate and you are informing the students about that. Okay. अब inter-school debate तो आपको question में दे दिया. So you please do something. You can Founders Memorial Inter-School Debate. What have you added? Founders Memorial. You can also, ma'am, will our marks be cut if a title is not catchy? Of course, it has to be catchy. Yes, Nidhi. It has to be catchy. It has to be creative, innovative. Okay. That's why this is where children lose most of the time. Okay. So I will suggest you, I will show you in what way you should create the titles, right? See, in your school also there would have been many programs, and you will see that those programs, they always have some title. We always give some title, like for example, for debate competitions we use rhetoric eloquence. Okay, for story writing we may use something, for debate, for art competition also. So such titles should be used. Okay, it has to be catchy. Yes. Yeah, so I was telling you about the subject. The subject is given in the question, but you must add something into it. Okay, ma'am, but in previous year question answer inter-school quiz competition etc. given. So inter-school quiz competition is the subject, beta. I am talking. I was just talking about creative title. Okay, then after that, date, time, venue should be written. Please follow correct format of the date which I have just told you. Time, if you are mentioning time 9 a.m. to 12 noon or 12 o'clock, it is not 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. Please be careful with that. You can give, sometimes there may be a kind of question or a situation in which only one time is supposed to be given. Okay, 9 a.m., something like that. Then venue consists of two things: one smaller location, then larger location. There are now you see the marking scheme also. For creative title you have 1 mark, subject 1 mark, date, time half mark each, venue 1 mark, half plus half for smaller location, half for larger location. Then after that you just write a line, and that last line should have these three things. One is the target audience, means ये notice आप किसके लिए है in particular, person to contact, and deadline. These three things should be there in the last line of your notice. Okay, whatever sentence you frame, it can be 1 or 2 sentences, not more than that. उससे ज़्यादा ज़रूरत नहीं है. This is how you are supposed to write a notice. I hope I am clear on this. Do you have any queries? देखिए, जो नोटिस होता है ना, इसका कंटेंट क्या होता है. बेसिकली यू शुड आस्क क्वेश्चन, व्हाट इज द नोटिस अबाउट. सब्जेक्ट क्या है, वो हमें सब्जेक्ट में पता चल गया. वेयर, वेन्यू में पता चल गया. व्हेन, हमें टाइम और डेट में पता चल गया. हु, मतलब दिस विल बी टू हुम द नोटिस इज अड्रेस, दैट इज आवर टारगेट ऑडियंस, तो वो हमें पता चलने चाहिए. एंड हुम, इफ एनी फाइनल डिटेल शुड बी हुम टू कॉन्टेक्ट और हुम टू गेट इन टच विद. ओके, तो आपका जो नोटिस है अगर इन 5 क्वेश्चंस का आंसर कर रहा है, इसका मतलब वो एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट है. यू हैव प्रोवाइडेड ऑल इंफॉर्मेशन वॉट एवर इज नीडेड. ओके, सो जस्ट आस्क योर सेल्फ दैट हैव आई टोल्ड अबाउट वॉट, वेयर, व्हेन, who, whom. It means that you have given all necessary information what is required. All right, now let's come to email, of course, which we all know as electronic mail, and it has somehow replaced letter writing a lot. But you see here, if we see the difference between an email and a letter is written at length. Email is very short and concise. It is very direct. You are not you are not supposed to exaggerate or elaborate on certain things. It is, and of course it is a formal it is used for formal communication only. Okay, emails are generally used to communicate for official purposes. All right, चलिए अब हम कंटेंट की बात करते हैं. ईमेल में हमेशा ईमेल एड्रेस इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. ठीक है, अब देखो बेटा, वैसे आप जब यूजुअली आप जब मेल करते हो तो सबसे पहले क्या आता है, सबसे पहले उसमें फ्रॉम होता है ना, फ्रॉम, देन कम्स टू, देन कम्स CC, BCC. ओके, देन कम्स सब्जेक्ट, and then there is a box in which you write the content which is required. So but here from the council's point of view, you have to focus, like you have to write only one email address, and that email address has to be written as to, put a colon, and then write that email address. Now please understand, it should be a plausible email ID. Means it should look like an email ID. Nobody is going to check whether it is a genuine email ID or not, but it should look like an email ID. Means the domain should always be written @ and then gmail.com, yahoomail.com, whatever it is. But it should look like an email ID. I hope I am clear on this. Next, the subject line is very essential factor, because somehow it clearly tells what is the subject of this email. हम क्यों लिख रहे हैं ये email, इसका purpose क्या है. अब यहाँ पर बच्चे एक गड़बड़ करते हैं. देखिए बहुत कॉमन गड़बड़ है. वो क्या है? फॉर एग्जाम्पल द क्वेश्चन कम्स दैट देर इज एन इंटर स्कूल इवेंट, राइट अ नोटिस टू इन्फॉर्म द स्टूडेंट्स हु वांट टू पार्टिसिपेट इन दैट. ठीक है, वो है पार्टिसिपेशन के लिए. See, Nidhi, again I would say do what your teacher has asked you to do. If you write it, it's okay. If you don't write, that too is okay. Okay, there are no marks specifically for this thing. They are going to check what you are writing, but I always suggest my children to write it down. है ना, वो ठीक रहता है. Okay, so I was talking about the subject. So for example, you are given a topic that there is an inter-school debate. Okay, your school is organizing an inter-school debate and you have to inform the students about it. आपको सिर्फ उनको inform करना है, and you are supposed to draft a notice for that. That is fine. But the email is that you are writing this email to the English teacher of a school or somebody, or to somebody in particular, inviting that person as the judge. ठीक है. अब देखो बेटा, दोनों सिचुएशन में लाइक पर्पस ऑफ राइटिंग नोटिस इज डिफरेंट, द सब्जेक्ट इज डिफरेंट देयर. व्हाट इज द सब्जेक्ट? इंटर स्कूल डिबेट कॉम्पिटिशन. बट the subject means the purpose of writing email is different. What is that? Inviting someone who Mr. XYZ as the judge. So when you write email, your subject can't be what is given in the notice. When you write email, your subject has to be like inviting as a judge in the inter-school debate. Okay, or invitation to judge an inter-school debate competition. That's it. Clear? I hope I am clear on this. Okay, next is of course salutation. Salutation is also important. Body of the email states what is the email about. You have to be very clear with what you want the receiver to know. Okay, make sure that you jotted down everything you want to convey. All right. Then of course signing off the email on a humble note, thanks and regards, or you can write yours faithfully also. Whatever that salutation has to be there. चलिए अब हम फटाफट से फॉर्मेट देख लेते हैं. सी फॉर्मेट ऑफ द email is like this only. To plausible email ID, half mark for that. Then you have to write subjects. Here I have written same as notice, but it can be different also depending on the question. Then dear sir, salutation has to be used, half mark for that. Opening sentence, half mark. Body, 2 marks. Closing, half mark. Means 3 marks are there. ओके तो बेटा यू हैव टू बी वेरी क्लियर विद द ओपनिंग सेंटेंस. ओपनिंग सेंटेंस उसी तरह के यूज कीजिएगा जो मैंने आपको अभी फॉर्मल लेटर्स में बताए हैं. गो विद द डायरेक्ट बिगनिंग. आवर स्कूल इज होस्टिंग an inter-school English debate. Alright, so please go ahead with that. हमेशा email में आप ध्यान रखिएगा, one paragraph, in the first paragraph only you are going to mention the details that have been given in the notice. जो notice के contents है ना, जो bullet points which you have given in the notice, they are supposed to be framed into full sentences to write as email. Okay, and then of course closing sentence has to be there, like we look forward to, or we would be happy to have you, something like that. And then subscription comes, same as formal letter. I hope you have been able to understand this. Do you have any questions, any queries regarding letter, notice or email? Okay, yes children, do you have any questions, any queries regarding that? Otherwise, You know what I want? Somebody was asking me if I can, ma'am, is it compulsory to write two or subject? Acha, this I've already answered. Yes, somebody was asking me about the topics. Beta, one thing I want to tell you very clearly, the best way to prepare for language paper is to do previous year's papers. If you do at least 10 years papers of previous years, you are definitely going to get a very good idea what kind of topics are asked. Similarly, it's better you practice because you will find that there is repetition also. Okay, tomorrow I am going to come again at 7 o'clock, and first I'll talk in brief about essay writing. Somebody was asking me about essay also. Can you make a video on essay writing? I already have video on my channel. You can always go through that, and I hope it is going to help you also, because I have got two videos. One is an elaborate one when I have in which I have talked in what way essays should be written very effectively, and another video is about, of course, marking scheme, how to score maximum marks for that. So the videos are there on the channel. You can watch them for essay writing. Okay, you still have time to improve on your writing skills. You still have time to improve on your writing technique. इनके ना बेटा notes बना लीजिए. It's better that you make notes of these writing skills. It will be very helpful for you. All right, now for essay, but I'll give you a brief introduction about how to go with the essays, and after that I am going to revise grammar with you. ठीक है, कल हम ग्रामर रिवाइज करेंगे, prepositions, transformations, joining sentences. These three topics I am going to take from previous year's papers. जितने sentences maximum, जितने difficult sentences especially we will take, and I will tell you in what way you are supposed to transform them, what are the rules for them. Okay, so I hope that all your queries regarding letter, notice and email are sorted here. Still, if you have any, you can always drop them in the comment box. I will definitely answer. All right, and now see you tomorrow at 7 o'clock with other questions. Bye bye for now.